Hello and hello, all you beautiful people. I am your host, Athena Sai, and I'm an oracle and wisdom keeper. And I really felt the call to bring some incredible women together from all over the world, all with their own unique specialized skill sets, and to bring them together to really share our stories as what I call the womb oracle or the wisdom keepers of Gaia. And so we have arrived at this really beautiful space where we are on this collective journey and humanity is raising its consciousness. And with that, we're remembering who we are, and we're remembering different ways that we can access our energy as well as heal our body, our mind, and our spirit. And so with that, it really helps us, I think, when we gather in community and when we really connect with other people and start to share stories, it empowers us to dream bigger, right? And with that, we are really coming to a space where we're co-creating these new solutions that for problems that are occurring on the earth and within humanity and even our own family units. We're starting to find that things that once worked are no longer working. And so we're like, let's get together and start to create a new way of being, right? And so dreaming bigger, bringing in these creation codes of peace, of love, of health, of prosperity for us and for our children and their children, and just really anchoring in these codes of wisdom for a better tomorrow. And so part of the solution is how we both tend to, our physical body as well as our energetic body. And so with that said, today I'm excited to introduce my newest soul sister, Dr. Giovanna Seitz. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Hi, Athena.
So I'm going to read a little bit about you. So Dr. Seitz graduated from the Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa. After graduation, she continued her education in family care with an emphasis on preconception, prenatal, and pediatric care. She holds certifications with the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, Webster's technique, which is a specific pelvic analysis and adjustment designed for the pregnant patient, and focus, which is education and understanding of the brain-body connection and brain development. She utilizes several chiropractic techniques to give an individual whole body approach to health. By understanding the body both physically and energetically, she is able to help many individuals optimize their brain and body connection and experience a fuller life. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So let's get started a little bit about your journey into women's health.
Sure. So really, what I did when I became a chiropractor, I just wanted to help people. And I started having kids come in, which is one of the things that I really want to see a lot of kiddos, but they were having things that were just lots of questions that weren't quite there. So I went ahead and I expanded my knowledge in pediatrics and prenatal care. And while I did that, I found all these beautiful different modalities to access that nervous system to help that brain and body adapt the way it needs to. So that way I can see these kiddos grow and flourish, really. And through that, we kind of look back like, okay, so what's the step before this? So we can either prevent or help this individual be healthier, help another individual be healthier. So we kind of look at past events to help that individual move forward. So that was really my first kind of introduction to some of this stuff. And the more I dug into it, the deeper I got, the more I found that, it's not one thing. We're not one system. We have all sorts of systems that work in harmony. It works in harmony with a lot of, energy is what connects all of us. Energy connects our parts together, and it connects us to the world, really, and in which we live in.
That's beautiful, so beautiful.
Thank you.
So, how do you help women and children with the womb? I mean, the women, of course, with the womb and the pelvic health.
Sure. So, we'll take this step back here, because I do a lot of preconception as well. When we're talking with women and couples that are trying to conceive, we talk about making sure their body is as healthy as possible. Because when their body is as healthy as possible, they create the best sperm and the best egg, and that comes together and creates the healthiest baby. But we also know that there are things that can get stuck, emotions that can get stuck in a system as well, and that can be passed on through generations. And so we can really go back and follow some of that stuff back and clear it to get that person ready. Now, physiologically, we look at that because we want a mother's pelvis to be able to adapt, to be able to birth that child, because it goes through rapid change when we get pregnant. And our organs and everything has to kind of move out of the way for baby. And then that uterus expands, and the pelvis kind of is the bottom cradle part where the baby kind of sits. So to help that move the best it can, we want to make sure that, one, the bones aren't stuck, the ligaments and everything are moving as nicely as possible, but we also want to make sure that mom's brain and body's connected a little bit better, so that way the signals she's receiving from baby, they can communicate even better. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. Once we do the adjusting, we kind of get mom's body adapting a little bit better. We just help her through that. And you know that birth would be like a marathon. There's a lot of work that goes on for birth. And so a lot to get ready for there. And then, of course, postpartum, after that baby, we call it the fourth trimester, where everything's tightening back up and things are getting used to holding that little one out front, getting used to holding them off to the side, all the different changes that have to happen. And really, chiropractic care is designed to help a body handle the types of stress that go on. There's 3 types of stress: physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. And so if we can increase someone's threshold to those stressors, they have less troubles that happen. They're able to perform like they're meant to. And so really, I just help brain and body communication, and the body does all the work. So my job's easy and the body really is a miracle. Yeah.
And I love that you say that, because I think a lot of people have the misconception that you go to a chiropractor and it's like, oh, they're gonna just crank on your neck, and there are some that are more, so there's a lot of different variations when you go to the chiropractor. But I love what you're saying about how it really is that brain and the body connection, and how you best can serve your client. And it's not just like, let's fix this right now. It's like what you're saying is, let's go back to those emotions. Let's go back to any past trauma that you've may have experienced, and how you're helping them really live their best and fullest life. So I'm really happy that you are doing this work. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you said that about like the emotions and things, honestly, sometimes you don't even have to relive them. Emotions get stuck in the spine. And if you think about that, when you're sad and depressed, you're not all happy and upright, you're kind of hunched over. And so you can even see that in somebody's posture, where that kind of stress is being held. And it's not that, oh, I'm going to take you and I'm going to push you into the right position, because your body's adapting this way for a reason. What we want to do is we want to help that body adapt. We don't want to say, here's your fish. If you give a starving man a fish, you want to teach that person how to fish, and so that way they can continue. So we want to teach the body how to adapt to stress a little bit better, so that way the longevity of the care is lifetime.
I love that. And as a mother of 2, I basically breastfed. I was thinking about this earlier, like for 6.5 years. And so I've even noticed that I still sometimes have this tendency to go in, as well as, of course, the emotional heartache that I've experienced the last couple of years too. Like, so I see that. And so it's good to know, that with that strengthening and with that proper care, like this will come back into its normal space. Like, and I know that, like, I have to go to a chiropractor regularly, and I'm trying to work on, strengthening also the scapula, right? Doing rows and things to strengthen those muscles, because it's so tight here, right? And so this part has broadened over those 6 years of nursing. And it really can affect you. So the people that are watching, tune in to what's your posture like. Where are you feeling those aches and pains? Do you have those those rounded shoulders? Have you been nursing for an extended period of time? Because that can really affect how your posture is. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I am a living example of someone who is trying to get the posture back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And form and function are so closely related. And if you really want to do a little exercise on this, what I tell people do is hunch way over and cross your arms and see what the breathing is like. See where your breath is. Not a very deep breath, not
Mine,
getting much cell.
mine's actually kind of going a little bit right to my right below my diaphragm, but not fully in the belly.
Right. And
Yeah.
then when you sit up and you have nice, good posture, now take in your breath and see where it goes. It can actually expand to the
Yeah.
whole full extent. And now every organ and cells are getting the appropriate amount of oxygen. And that's one big change, that if you notice, hey, I'm getting headaches or things like that throughout the day, what is your posture doing? Just sit on up and take some big deep breaths. That might be all it takes.
Oh, I love that. And what a great little practice, that we can incorporate to check in, right? It's just a daily check in, a pause in the day to check in. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, how has your own relationship to your womb, your body, your pelvic area improved over the years as you kind of, dove into this for your clients? How has it shaped and affected you as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that I noticed is when I was in school, there was a lot of mental stuff. There was a lot of very linear, get this done, do this thing, schedule every moment of your life so that way you can get through school and help people, right? And just recently I realized I don't know what to do when I don't have something to do. What do we do in this, like I call it empty or white space? What do we do in this space? And it's actually one of the most important things that you can do for yourself is learn to just be. Don't fill it with something. Don't add, like TV or something that's just kind of mind numbing. But finding that space and getting to know yourself. So breathing is one of my favorite things to do. Finding that kind of being able to flow, like what do I want right now? Do I want to be creative? Do I need to rest? Do I need to think about another thing? Like, is there something that I need to do in that white space? I can always do it. But if I can just sit, it's the thing that calms me the most. And so as I'm looking into this, I'm seeing that if we look at like a masculine feminine energy, that tends to be flow, tends to be more of the feminine energy. And I find that I can really feel into that a little bit more and find that, hey, maybe I am a little bit more feminine, even though I've been living in this masculine world for a little while of the linear thinking and school. So thank you, Athena, because the stuff that we've been doing together with the Sacred Saturdays, that has opened my eyes to a whole world of kindred souls, and ways that I can relax and connect with people. Because another one of those big things is I'm not a huge social person, but we all need connection. Connection is one of those things that are, as humans, we need those for certain hormone productions. We need to have that interaction. Just seeing somebody else's face, seeing somebody else smile at us, creates certain hormones that help our system calm down and go from a fight or flight into a rest and digest, more of a parasympathetic calming state, which allows our body to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
so even though that, like, I might just be sitting here maybe with a couple other people, it's still a really good healing process. And so for me, that journey was something that opened up my world a little bit more to where I can connect and feel comfortable doing so. So yes, that's probably where I land.
I love all of that. And it is, and even just being, I'll kind of quote quote Jesus, but what he said in the Bible was, where two or more gather, you'll find me, right? And the finding me is finding that Christic light, or finding that spark, finding that connection, finding that love. And so when we do connect in ceremony, even if we're not even speaking, like, that energy is automatically flowing. Like you said, those hormones are going to be released, and we can feel that. And as you were speaking, I was kind of brought back to, like, some indigenous or even native, I'll say, lifetimes that I've experienced, like what I could remember in visions and dreams and things that have come to me over the years, is that's what we did. We sat in ceremony, we sat in sacred circle. And there's many cultures and many books and stories and legends, and they're not even legends or myths, but they're truth, where the women would sit together and they would share, even during their moon cycle, they would sit in the red tent and they would share their stories. They would tend to each other, they would brush each other's hair, they would put massage oils on their back and on their belly, and all these different phases in life were tended to. So just like, you help with the preconception, you help when, the baby's in the womb, you're helping when the baby's out, like it all weaves together, and we're bringing that back into the mainstream as a very important aspect of all of our healing journey. We can do this in community. We can do this in right relationship to nature, to the feminine flow, right? To allow ourselves to open to receive that healing. And so you're doing it. And I love that so much. So this kind of brings us into this other aspect that is, this summit is about what I call the womb oracle. So when you hear of the womb oracle, what does that bring up for you?
Oh gosh. So when I think of womb oracle and womb energy in general, I feel like the womb connects us to timeline, because it connects us to the past. And I've been told, and we'll see about the studies on this one, but that our egg was in our mother when she was in her mother's womb. So technically, we were in our grandmother. And that means that our grandmother was in her grandmother. And so all that information that gets passed down through the generations goes directly to our DNA. So we're connecting our womb to our past. And I think that it also connects us to our future. I think our womb has this extra ability. When we carry a baby, we are literally birthing something for the future. And it also grounds us to the moment. So to me, the womb is very much a part of the timeline. I think that somebody that can access any information along that timeline, whether it be, I'm going to help you heal from a past experience, I'm going to understand where this physiology came from, or where it needs to go moving forward, like what kind of health do you want in the future. Those people that can connect to that, those would be the people that I would call a womb oracle, but I might be.
No, that is perfect. Like, that is so beautifully said. And so you're kind of speaking of, like, the epigenetics, right? Where we're able to find that in our DNA and in our genetics. And that's part of the work that I do, is I help people connect the energetics of the womb to heal past life traumas, as well as ancestral karma and trauma. And that's one of the things that I can do, is see the timelines of the past. What do we need to clear? And again, like you said earlier, we don't always have to go into the wounding and the emotions. Sometimes it's just like, see it, clear it, move on. There are other times that it needs to be a little bit deeper to it's almost like it might be playing out in this current situation, and they're like looping it. And so as I see those loops, then I'll be like, okay, this is kind of playing out in this way in your lifetime. So let's start to shift that. And these are some steps. Oftentimes I can give them steps forward on that timeline to what is best going to help them to see the pattern, release the pattern, and not even, it's like acknowledgement. Usually it's just acknowledging that the pattern is there and it starts to dissolve on its own. We don't always have to go in and dissect it. So I'm glad that you said that, because again, living example of that. So that's so beautiful. And I know we talked a little bit about, women gathering, but why do you feel the gathering of women is so important right now? And why is it on the rise?
Oh, we are in a time where we have lost so much of that interaction, that social interaction, and women aren't. We can do it. We can do it all. We can do every part of what we need to do. We can perform every function. But I think we do so much better when we're in a tribe. And we all have something that we're really, really good at. And when we can depend on each other to bring that to the circle, I think that gives us a peace of peace of mind, calm, ease. I also think, like, if we think about it physiologically, we do get that hormone wash that we get from being in the same space as somebody else. We get the energetic vibrations from someone else in that same room. And I think when we find that we're off just a little bit, we kind of need to ground. And when we can get together, we can ground each other. And so we're all in different spaces, but we can come to the same frequency. And that is one of the things that I think women are really good at doing, is finding that. And I also feel like that when we connect with each other, we're able to also share those experiences and help each other understand what we're going through isn't just your journey. You're not alone. Even though it's an individual journey and you are maybe nobody else experienced the exact same thing, but we can be together, we can support each other, we can cheer each other on. And I think that's very needed.
Your words are like hitting my heart, like, and it is true. And I think, like you said, how it's been the last few years, we were forced to be in isolation. And now it's like, I think that we're feeling that lack, or we're all craving that connection. And so sitting in ceremony and doing things like this, where we're sharing our expertise, and it's like lighting things up within us as we're talking, right? Oh, there's something firing up, like we're remembering together, and that's so healing. And so I just love all of that. Yeah. So what other advice can you give women around the importance of tending to the womb and pelvic health?
Sure. Well, I'm a little biased, but go see a chiropractor. That would be my number one thing. I would also tell you that you're not alone, that if you reach out, there are women out there or people out there that will reach back. And really what we need to do is we need to feel that connection. If you're feeling like you're in a bad space, going out and finding somebody that will just put a smile on your face or even just sit with you in your sorrow is healing. You don't have to do much. Just reach out to someone. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So I have a couple bonus questions.
Woo.
So I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, but these are fun. They're fun ones. So we'll start with one of my favorite, because I'm a foodie. I love food. I love eating food. Like, give me all the food. If we're going on vacation somewhere, I'm going for good places to eat. I love it. It just fills my soul. So when you think of the goddess, right, what foods come to mind that you think she would eat that would nourish the body and the soul?
Oh my. I had this thought earlier today. I kid you not. I was thinking earlier today, the most divine food is walking through a garden, a fresh garden, gathering the things and making your little salad, and just each little flavor in there and all the love that gets put into that garden goes into that. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's so healthy or whatever, but I'm just thinking like fresh fruits and veggies, just like directly from the ground.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. Oh, I love that. I always love grapes. Like
Oh
just
yeah.
like the Cleopatra, like eating of the grapes, like that's just so divine. You will probably, anytime anyone comes to my house, there will be grapes in the fridge.
Nice.
They have to be purple ones. I like the purple ones.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so are there any specific places in the world? And you kind of said this about, a garden, but are there any places in the world that help you connect deeper to your feminine energy, to your womb space?
Oh yes. Montana. My husband and I met in Montana. I love it. We met in Bozeman because I'm a little biased. It's the best place on earth. And we go there and just kind of lose ourselves, and the mountains are beautiful. The wildlife is beautiful, even the plains. When it's every season is wonderful there, even the winter, and I'm not a fan, but winter is even beautiful there. So yeah, I would say just all of Montana, but specifically like Bozeman, and there's a park in Bozeman that I love, which is Highlight Canyon or Highlight Park.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so the next question is, what do you feel is the connection between the heart and womb?
Oh gosh. Um, that's I find that there's a few centers that I think take the lead on what makes us who we are. Our womb grounds us and centers us and makes us connect with others a little bit. Our heart connects us with others. We can measure the energy fields off of our heart. I'm sure the womb has its own energy fields, but we haven't, that I know of, been able to measure it specifically. I know that we can enter or see the energy fields off of our entire body, but I'm envisioning the heart, the womb, and then is it crown that's up here, crown chakra. I think those are the three that really are where our frequencies resonate from. And I feel that's where people tend to live sometimes. Yeah.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, so the next question is, what other simple practice? This is more like your own, and I think you kind of already mentioned some of this, but what simple practice helps you to connect to your own womb guidance? So the guidance aspect of it.
Sure. Um, in chiropractic, we call it innate, our innate wisdom or innate intelligence, and some people call it a gut feeling. But when I feel something, we check in. So, what do I feel like eating today? What do I feel like doing today? And that's really a check in for your body to answer. So, hey, what do I want? And you kind of let your body answer that. I actually um, find that I use that a lot in care. What can I do for this body right now? How can I help this person? But what I would do to listen to it a little bit more is I find that quiet space. That's that moment where I can just take a breath, and where is it in my body? What is it saying to me? And how can I express it the best?
And that's so important, that pause, because we do live in a society, we've been in this very masculine age where it's doing and producing and going and building, but then we've forgotten that, it is important to stop and to pause and to rest, because that is, like you said, that's where our intuition, our innate knowing is
Mhm.
is there. And so, yeah, I think more and more of us are starting to remember that, and we're also seeing the benefits of that, even if like it's hard to slow down at first, because I know when I started tuning into my feminine energy, I was a fitness instructor and a personal trainer, and I was teaching like 15 classes a week, and I was always going, and I was getting up, two small kids. I was like, oh my gosh. But finally my body literally shut down and said, no, 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 no. Like I was forced to come into that resting space. But it also gave me so much time to, see where I was kind of stuck in those, more masculine, we call it more masculine, where, I was going. I was never allowing myself to actually stop and rest. And so once I did that and I could get over my mind of like, I need to be doing this, I need a checklist, and blah, 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 you know how that goes. Like, then it was like, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to really tend to my body. I was tending to my body with the nutrition and the exercise, but it was almost to the extreme. And so I had to really slow and nourish and actually like rebuild. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. Like I've taken time off from exercise and I've just been doing whatever I need to do in the moment. And now I feel like I'm bringing into that balance the feminine and the masculine. So I was in that masculine, then I was like initiated into the feminine, into the goddess, into the mother energy, being a mom of two, as well as the spiritual side, like working with, the mother archetypes. And now it's like, let's unite. And that's part of what the summit is about, is uniting both the masculine and feminine, moving from, our society once was, all matriarchal, and then it moved to the patriarchy. And now it's like, let's unite them both and let's build from this united place. So yeah, it's incredible when we can actually stop and pause and listen and be with ourselves and be okay with not doing anything. Because I even remember when there was points in my life where I didn't want to take a nap. Like that's bad. I need to be doing something. I felt guilty for it. But now I'm realizing actually naps are what grounds me. Yeah. And I actually also figured out in my own human design, one of my channels is naps actually are very important for me. So now I'm like, I don't do it every day, but I'm like, priority, I probably take at least 2 naps a week, sometimes more if I need it, but I try to like nap. And if I can't do that, then I try to find those little small moments, even if it's 5 minutes. Like this morning, the kids slept in. So I went out and I had my cup of cacao on the deck and I just listened and I journaled, and that's what I did. So, it was 20 minutes this morning. Tomorrow it might only be 5 minutes, but having those little moments where I can pause is really important, I think, for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And our bodies are so amazing, and we can perform and we can do so much with them, and it'll adapt and it'll shut this system down so this system will work, and it'll find ways to do what needs to be done until it can't. And that's when it says, hey, I'm done whispering, I'm done asking, I'm telling you, this needs to happen. And if we still don't listen, then we can go down that path. But so much of it that will guide us and call to us, and there'll be a lot of little hints along the way. And if we can pick up on those and listen to our body whisper, we won't ever have to hear it scream at us. But the society that we live in is push, 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 go, go, go. And it's not really designed to help us get in tune.
And I think that's important for us to remember. And as we move on in, our businesses and in our communities, like, how can we improve this? How can we start to shift gears to support more of that, because it's not one or the other, it's both. We need both. And so finding that balance, or even the harmony, finding that harmony within each person individually, and that shifts collectively. Yeah. So last question here is, if you had a message for humanity, what would that be?
I guess, to really take that time to listen to your body, let it guide you, and we'll all be okay. We're in this together.
That's so beautiful. And I love the simplicity of that
Mhm.
and the multiple layers of that. That's beautifully delivered.
Thank
So,
you.
what are some ways, what are you currently working on, and what are some ways that people can connect with you?
Absolutely. So, right now, my chiropractic office, it's in Toledo, Iowa. You can call the office number. It's 641-484-5588. Business name is Wildflower Family Chiropractic. That just changed. So if you see Seitz Family Chiropractic, that's still me. Um, and so website will be wildflowerfamilychiropractic.com. And there'll be multiple ways that you can get a hold of me on there. As far as what I'm working on, I've got a moms group that we do once a month, and this is just for moms to help other moms. That's called Your Roots Moms Group. That's on Facebook. As well as if you call the office and want to know when it is, that's there as well. And then I'm looking at getting some talks online. I want to really focus on some neurodevelopmental disorders and behavioral things and get some talks going on around that, just to help people understand that behavior is a window to the brain, and we can use that to see where somebody is on that trajectory of brain development to help that person, um, really give the person the support they need so that way they can have that proper or more organic brain growth or actually move through their world just a little bit easier. Um, so those are the things that I got in the works right now, but I'm planning quite a few more things that aren't quite there yet, but do keep an eye on either our Facebook or our website. We'll definitely announce it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I'll make sure to put all your information in the emails that go out to everyone, as well as below this video. You can see it in the description. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. And, I love that we've connected through Sacred Saturdays,
Mhm.
in-person circles. And I just knew that your heart and your soul and your womb wanted to be part of this. And so I'm so glad that you made it happen. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to this.
It's beautiful.